What's going on, guys? I'm Logan. Welcome to It's Call Time, the podcast where stagehands and techs talk about our chaotic, sleep-deprived lives behind the scenes. This will be the first episode, so with that being said, the way we're going to go about this is I'm going to tell you guys the story and basically my journey into this crazy world of live music production and stage work. So where I will start off is, who am I in the industry today? I am a stage manager and a union member at a venue called College Street Music Hall. I have worked at a handful of venues throughout Connecticut. Where I really got my start was Toad's Place. I had only gone to one show there prior, and I knew someone that had worked there because I had worked with them at another building. And I kind of bothered them about wanting to get there. And after pestering them for a few months, I was able to get a couple gigs at Toad's. And then after that, I just kind of became part of their regular crew. How do I want to word this? I'm also a lighting board operator. I can also do programming and design work. So what they would call it is a lighting designer or director. Lighting can be slightly different in rock and roll and theater, depending on the world you are in. What made me kind of get involved in the world of this crazy stage work? To be honest, it was all by chance. I was 19. I didn't really have a job prior, and I just needed work. My best friend happened to go to a tech school which had his graduation at a theater. Someone there asked him if he wanted to push boxes. He said no. Gave me their contact info. I sent them an email with like a crappy resume that I had put together, and I got the call about a week later to come and work a show there. And that was the Klein Theater in Bridgeport, Connecticut, where when I got involved, I originally wanted to learn audio, because as someone that listens to music, you want to hear it, you want to make it sound good, you want the show to sound good, and all of those things. I originally wanted to do that, but when I started at Toad's, I had a coworker who then became my mentor. His name was Marty Wind. He was Twisted Sisters LD for some years, and then after that, he had come to Toad's and just wanted to, work a house gig. He was an ex-EMT and firefighter. He told me, "Hey kid, there's plenty of sound guys, and there's only one lighting. Why don't you want to learn lights?" And that's really what I would say started the journey for me into this crazy world. I never really knew what it would bring me or where it could bring me. I just knew that it was something that I enjoyed doing, and the people that I got to work with and the people that I've gotten to meet along the road all of these years later, they are some of the best people and some of the best memories that I could ever want and have in my life. As I said, I've been doing this for quite a while. I started in, I believe, March of 2013 is when my first show was at the Klein. And then I started at Toad's in June of 2013. The current venue that I am at is College Street Music Hall in New Haven, Connecticut. I've been there since 2017. That building reopened in 2015. It was originally the Palace Theater in New Haven, and then it opened back up as College Street, and I have been there since. I love that building, and I love getting to do shows in there, and it's so much fun when tours come through and they remember, us and the crew and everything, and the people, like I was saying earlier, that I've gotten to work with along the way. I'm forever grateful for. Shout out especially to my mentor, Marty. He saw in all of us that I have gotten to work with that we had what it took, and as he said to me many, many years ago, not everyone is cut out for this, and that is okay. There are individuals who are cut from a certain cloth, and when you know that you're cut from that, you stick with it. And yeah, I didn't know where it was going to bring me, but I saw that this was something that I enjoyed, I was good at. I learned a lot. I didn't just learn about the industry that I wanted to, kind of get into, but I learned a lot about myself. I learned that I was capable of having the work ethic that I really wanted. It taught me a lot. I spent my entire early 20s in the last year of my teens in Toads. That building, thanks to that building, I am able to have a career that I have today. People have asked me if I ever went to any kind of school or anything for my job. I didn't go to school for my job. I went to school for broadcasting because I've always loved video editing and stuff like that. I went to the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. Right after I graduated high school, I was the first class of 2012 to graduate. I graduated in January, if I'm correct, of 2012, either January or February of 2012. I've been asked if I think school is a good thing or bad thing to get into for the industry. Honestly, I really don't have an answer for that because I know people who have gone to school for, audio engineering or electrical of some kind, and then they can work in a shop. Or I have friends who are on tour right now who are amazing engineers who went to school. And then I have people who are great house guys. And, it's really depending on how much you make of a situation given to you, I think, in this industry, because the biggest thing is you can get opportunities, shown to you, handed to you. People can give you offers or whatever, but if you don't have the hard work, the dedication, and other things to go into that, it doesn't matter whether you're going to school or if you're, someone like me who I learned a majority of what I know right now trial by fire in the trenches with the people that I work with, learning everything, learning how to program stuff, learning how to address lights, patch stages, do all of these things. I learned how to do all that, run crews. Everything that I learned was trial by fire, and I'm not saying that that's better. Some people are better in situations where they're in a school, or some people are in better situations like me. I worked better, doing the thing. Show me what to do, tell me what to do, and then have me do it in that motion. I know some people excel at that, and then I know people who excel at, just read and then they can do it. When I started the industry, like I said earlier, I originally wanted to learn audio. All these years later, I've dabbled. I'm no audio engineer, but I can step behind a console and make sure nothing feeds back. But for the most part, I was a lighting guy, and I have not necessarily stepped more outside of that realm in that role. I do prefer to be a stage manager and a crew chief. It is really the role that I truly love. One of my production managers at College Street, actually, when we were getting to a point where we weren't really having a main stage manager or anything like that, where we were getting to the point where we were having, somebody be that, but then they were starting to fill another role. He told me, hey, I know you love doing lights and everything, but he flat out told me he thought I would be really good at doing this. I trust the people around me to not just, if they suggest a role for me, very much like how I would for someone, I wouldn't want to put someone or suggest something to them that would not be good for them, or that they would not be good at. I wouldn't want someone to go into a spot or a position where they wouldn't succeed, or I wouldn't think they would do good at. So when he told me that, I believed him. I trusted him, and I am so forever grateful. Shout out Tim. Love you. He's going to be a future guest on this show, actually. It's really thanks to him that I found, being a stage manager and crew chief. I did a little bit of it at Toads, yes, but it was not necessarily a actual role. More so, I was just the lead stagehand in that building. That really didn't need a stage manager. It did need someone to kind of take charge and, be the ixto facto, as we called it, El Jefe. It's a lot to want to step out of a role that, you were thinking that you're going to do. And like I wanted to go on tour. I wanted to go be a lighting guy on the road, but once I found stage managing, I fell in love with it. And it is my ixto facto at this point. I prefer to do that. I have gotten to stage manage at multiple venues and crew chief at multiple venues, and I'm forever grateful for all of the opportunities that I've had. Whether I'm still in those buildings, or not, it is thanks to every place that I've been that I have all of the skills that I have and know I'm so capable of walking into a place and figuring out how to make a fun environment, a safe environment in a place where people want to come back. Our world is crazy and it's very difficult at times, but we are also usually the masters of our own demise in this world. Our job is hard. We have long days, but when you have a team that can just have fun, be safe, and work hard together, it doesn't really matter how long or how hard the day is. You're gonna make it through, and it's gonna be a good fucking day. So that's like also when you come to like tour life versus house gig life. I've never really toured. I've done, a short stint with a band that's here in Connecticut. That they brought me out on the road for 10 days, and I learned in that 10 days that I could fucking do it if I wanted. I was in my early 20s at the time, it was about 10 years ago, but I was their driver. I did merch. I helped load them in and out. There was one night that I even did lights, so I was so happy that when they took me out on that run, that they gave me that chance because, even though it wasn't exactly what I wanted, it showed that I could get thrown into the fire like that and I could do it. So a tour life versus a home gig life, because I had only experienced a house gig life, was very different. Because as a house guy, I have the same guys for the most part coming in. I have the same building, all the same equipment that's in my house. That's there. I know it. I know my building inside and out. But when I'm on the road, you're out with a tour. You have gear that's rented. You don't, obviously you have rehearsal dates and stuff like that. So you get familiar with everything. And obviously you're not going to get sent out with stuff you don't know how to use. But the biggest thing is learning how to kind of pace yourself. From a lot of the people that I've talked to out on the road, it's learning how to not really burn out, because the days are long and you're going to sleep in one city and waking up in another, and that right there is just a mental hurdle in itself. Not to mention if you're going between time zones, and when you're doing multiple 16 plus 18-hour days every day, and sometimes it's 3-4 in a row, and then you'll have a day or two off. And then sometimes, depending on the tour, it could be like day off, show, day off, show, day off. It really depends. So, like, home life versus tour life, I can't really give you guys a honest perspective other than it's much more chaotic, much more, unfamiliar, because you don't know the building you're walking up to unless, you've been there before. If you've loaded into a building that you're going to, you kind of have an idea of what to expect, whether it be difficulties of loading in, the people that work there, everything like that, So there's a lot of factors, but that's kind of also the fun part about it, because, from doing that, you come to have, like, your favorite moments and your favorite stories. Like, one of my personal favorite stories is years ago, I was working at Toads. So my cousin? It was either a cousin or a friend of mine. Long story short, I had someone that came to a show, and Waka Flocka Flame was performing at Toad's Place. And they were like, hey, man, I'd really love to smoke with him if, he has any time. I know it's probably slim to none, but some artists they don't have an ego, they're just people who are a little more well-known than us. And then obviously It could change depending on the artist and everything, but for the most part, a lot of people are pretty chill. But I went up and asked, I was like, hey, I waited till he was done with his meet and greet thing. And I shook his hand. I did lights for him that night, and it was a great night. Their tour manager came up to me and said, hey, man, like, make this look like a rock show. And I said, you got it, dude. I got you. No problem. So I go up to him and I'm like, hey, cousin of mine really would love to, smoke if you have some time. And he goes, give me like 5 minutes. I'll meet you out in the main room. And I went, that's great. No problem. No rush. I go out there. I go to tell them. As soon as I'm telling them, his hand. Waka Flocka's a big man. I'm 5'7" on a good day if my spine's not hurting. This dude's hand comes on my shoulder, and then he comes down to the side of me, and he's just like, all right, so where are we smoking at? And it's moments like that, or I have an immune disorder called systemic lupus, and it has attacked my left eye and has almost made me go blind in it. Wayne from the Flaming Lips. Years ago, I had to wear an eye patch because my eye is hypersensitive to light. Ironic for a lighting guy, But he sees me wearing my eye patch, and he's curious. He goes, I've had some health issues. I would, really like to ask you about yours, and maybe what you have is what I have, or it could point me in the right direction. Maybe it is an immune disorder thing. I'm not sure. But it's people like him, or the fact that I have a signed poster from Arlo Guthrie when he performed the Alice Restaurant tour at my building. My family, every Thanksgiving, we listen to Alice's Restaurant on repeat. And I bought the show poster, and I saw him and his wife outside smoking cigarettes, and I walked up and I said, hey, excuse me, I hate to interrupt, but would you mind signing this poster for my parents? And he said, of course. I have a signed set list from Dweezil Zappa to my father. My dad used to pick me up and carry me and like dance me around to Frank Zappa, Dweezil's father. Frank was an amazing musician. So when I had Zappa play Zappa at Toads, I was able to talk to Dweezil and be like, my dad listened to your dad. And it's really moments kind of, like that made me not just love what I do, but then there's like the people that are involved, I've met some of my best friends and some of the people that I've gotten to call like my brothers in this industry. I've gotten to put on shows with them for tens of thousands of people. We've gotten to put on shows for bands, like we set bands up that we've loved. I could never put into words how much that means to me. My job is people's escape for 2.5 hours. That's more than, money, yeah, is great, but some of us do get our kicks in other ways. So getting to be a part of something, as someone who has loved music my entire life, I really don't have any music talent, but to be able to help be a part of that and to see these bands do what they do thanks to me doing what me and my guys do is probably my favorite thing about my job. We see all this gear come in, and some people are like, how do you fit it? And it's like, we just do, man. The tours are great. They know we're there to have a good time and do a job, and they're there to do the same exact thing. And that's all I could ever ask for, even in like a dream situation. People have asked me what would my dream tour would be, and to be quite honest, I almost got to go out on it. One of my favorite bands is a band called Miss May I, and I have listened to them since high school. I saw them actually at Toads. They are the only concert and only show that I have ever fucking gone to at Toad's Place that I actually did not work, or while I was working there. It is the only show prior to me have starting working in the industry that I went to in that building. And I almost got to go out on tour with those guys as their lighting guy for the Monument tour. And I'm very, I am sad that it didn't work out where got to go out. But the thing was, That is easily one of my favorite bands, and that would have probably been, you know, a dream tour to go out on, would have been with them. Or they're going out on an upcoming tour right now at Bless the Fall. You know, situations like that. I'd love to, you know, work like a Metallica show or a System of a Down show, Tool. And a lot of these bands that I want to work, I more so want to work, and I just want to thank them for giving me music that I've gotten to bond with friends and family over. And just years of memories of good times and laughs, and they give me just as much as I get to give them when I put on, you know, when I put a show in the building. So it's, you know, a dream tour, dream job. I, at the end of the day, I almost don't really like, that would be a dream, would be go out with a band I love, but to just know a band appreciates what we do and love, and I get along with them, and it's just like a giant family, that would be the dream. It really doesn't matter who, what genre, anything like that. It would just be a fun time to get to do that out on the road, and or as a house gig. You know, I love being a house guy when tours come through that I know. I love seeing friendly faces and, you know, giving hugs to everyone and just having a good time, man. And, you know, that's where it's like, if I have any advice for anyone that really wants to get into this world, anyone that is looking to become a stagehand or is a stagehand that wants to grow or, you know, try and go higher in the industry, some of my number one advice: just have fun, do the job safely, get rid of your fucking ego. Because if you really have an ego, you know, of course, be confident. Don't be cocky. I can say as a lead, the main reason why I am where I am today is not simply for the fact that I work hard, but it is I have some of the greatest people around me that have believed in me and given me opportunities. So when someone believes in you, don't diminish it. Appreciate it. Use that as, you know, fuel. Be like, they say I can. I should believe in myself like how they believe in me. Because if it's someone that you trust and stuff, why would you have doubt in them? There is no reason. Ask questions. There is no wrong question. The only wrong question is not asking and assuming that you know something. Because the problem is, a lot of the times, unfortunately, in our industry, when someone doesn't ask a question, it leads to something happening and taking longer. I would rather ask a question, whether I think I know the answer, to avoid unnecessary difficulties down the road. And I can't tell you how many tours and people have appreciated that. Even if I'm confident and I know how to do it, hey, how do you like it done? Because that one question can matter so much to a tour, and they will appreciate you so goddamn much. Even a house guy. You go up to a house guy, hey, man, how would you like this? Is there anything that I could do for you? Where does, you know, everything belong in your building? When you go that extra just inch, it's not even a mile, you know, you just have basic consideration and appreciation for what you do, people will take notice of that. And then that's how you get more opportunities. And then as long as you keep doing that and you keep, also, don't try and step over people. Don't try and just get one over on someone, because that's going to bite you in the ass. There's one thing I've learned about this industry and that I've done my entire time in it is just I've been honest about shit. If I need something and I need help, I'm going to ask. If I don't need it, I'm not going to ask. Because then when you ask for unnecessary things, when you really do need it, people might question you. Your character, the integrity of it, it's a simple, basic consideration of stuff. You know, it's really, really basic things. That's really my best advice that I could give to people. Go on forums, you know, look up stuff, ask questions. When you're at a show, if you really are interested, stand by the front of house position. Watch what the people are doing at the consoles. Ask them, you know, go up to the house staff. Be like, hi, I would really like to, you know, get involved in this. How could I do so? Is there anyone I could talk to? Go to your local venues, go to your local theaters, and try and get involved. And honestly, that is like the best advice that I can really give to anyone. So I just want to thank you guys for, hanging out and listening to me talk about the industry and the world that I have gotten to be in. This is still the first episode, so obviously it's going to be a little choppy at times. I'm going to edit it around and everything, but as I get more guests and get into the rhythm of it, I feel like we're going to do some good shit, guys, and I really do hope I can shine some light onto the world that I love so much, because people deserve to see what we do, and the people that do it deserve to have the light shine on them. Those are some of the hardest working and some of the best people I know in this goddamn world. And I would love to see more people know that there are so many possible jobs in the industry. You could be a tech, you could be a stagehand, you could be a runner, you could work festivals. There are so many job opportunities that you could do that it's an insane thing. And I would really love to see more people realize that this is an opportunity, like this is something you could do. Because I know tens of thousands of people would kill to do what we do, and that is why I have such an appreciation that I get to do that. So, guys, I'm Logan. This is It's Call Time, and I will see you guys on the next one.